I thought nary for a moment I had passed, but no. 'Twas only my slumber. Once my eyes opened again, the cacophony of sounds returned, and so did the dim light of the world. The lonely owl I had fed the previous day was perched upon a haystack, looking out into the rain. After I had gotten myself ready for the journey, I thought I'd give it some more food. It took part in the meal very graciously. Then, to my surprise, it looked up at me and spoke.
You show kindness in a time of selfishness.
You speak?
Also, so do you. I assume you are on your own, young one.
Yes. All of my family has passed on except my father, perhaps. He has not come home in quite a long time.
So would it be better for you to assume he has passed?
I see.
But there is a possibility he has taken refuge with my masters.
Your masters?
Yes, indeed. Great scholars and magicians they are, spending their entire life studying the plagued and their horrendous acts. Though I have been out of their company for months on end, I do hope they are still well.
Months? How did you survive?
You see, my follower did not survive. I peeked upon his corpse to lengthen my time.
I turned to see where he looked upon. I somehow did not notice a nearly skeletal man wasting away in the corner. The mud and the rain had masked stench. Well, anyhow, could you perhaps lead me to this place you speak of?
Yes, quite. I shall rest upon your shoulder and tell you where to travel.
Once again am I to walk amidst an ocean of sorrows. I still not know where I am headed, but at least 'tis somewhere, and at least I do not have to travel alone. Along our travels we pass more and more villages affected by the storm. It would almost seem as if the world was decaying. It only took us half the day to reach this place he spoke of. 'Twas nothing I'd ever seen before. It was a towering castle with arches and stone carvings. It rested upon a great hill and almost held a royal design to it. The one thing I had noticed was the lack of rain surrounding it. In fact, it was as if the heavens opened up and shared its light. As I approached, the rains had ceased to fall upon me. I held my hand out expecting to be weakened, but I only felt the warmth of the sun for the first time. It was as if the hands of God had touched me. At this point, the owl had flew from my shoulders and perched upon a stone near a grand door.
Here we are, the sanctum of scholars.
To my surprise, it was full of people. It was crowded with people all of weary and defeated looks. The grandiose castle felt like a small home. I was expecting great halls and decorative rooms, but it did feel like a safe haven. The owl led me to the central area of the castle. In front of me was a council of sorts. Many elder and young men dressed in regal grey robes, each of which were busy with studies or research. Finally, the owl spoke once more.
Be wary, not great ones, I return from my voyage.
And what of your follower?
Unfortunately, he did not make it. May his soul be released from the storm.
A great misfortune this is. You are free to be amongst the other owls.
The owl nods and flies off from my presence.
And what of you, boy? I assume you have been led here by the owl?
Yes, wise sir. I am Caleo. I have come from my home in Duskmire.
Long have you travelled? I'm impressed a young soul such as yourself has survived.
'Twas not easy, sir. May I ask who you are?
We go by a singular name, the Greybeards. We are the long generation of the brightest minds. Here we study all of the events and writings of the plagued who have created the storm in some hope of restoring the lands and seizing the plague's rule.
My grandfather spoke of the plague. To who are they?
Men of great evil that have existed long before us. They have chosen a lifelong search of power. This has led them to creating this storm. They have learned that the strength of souls could be the key to offering them world-corrupting power, and thus the end of man has already begun. but we still hold on to hope that we may be able to combat this evil. We have already discovered means of protecting ourselves from the rains, as you may have noticed.
Quite so. Who are all the people out in the halls?
Survivors. To each village that was lost, we send a volunteer to save people from annihilation, which to my surprise is why I'm interested in how you have found your way here. There's only one other man that found his way amongst us without our aid.
My father? He is here?
Father? He had told us he was the only one left of his family.
What? But he never spoke of his son?
Nary did he speak of his own wife. Said she had passed many years ago from sickness. It was all that was told.
Where does he reside?
North side of the castle. He will be amidst the crowds.
Rage boiled inside me. My father, who I thought was a good man, abandoned his own family? Long did I wait for his return. Long did Mother cry because she did not have him by her side. As I approached the north side of the castle, I searched amongst the crowd, till finally I spotted that snake. He was resting upon a wall, holding hands with a woman. She laughed and smiled, and so did he. How could he? He leaves his family and he finds joy in this? In an angered walk, I approached with my fist clenched. He noticed me.
Caleo? How have you found your way to?
I did not give him a chance to finish his words. With the rage I felt, I threw my punch at his face. He stood frozen for a moment. My knuckles bled, for I had hit him with all I had. How dare you look me in the eye after what you have done? You leave your own wife and your son to die, all for another woman? At this point, the room fell silent, and the woman began to leave. I thought you to be a harrowing and wonderful person, but all I see in my eyes now is a dirty eel wallowing in the muds of a swamp.
No, I did not think you were alive. I found this place, and I thought...
You thought what? That your wife was too ill to treat? That your son was too much to take care of?
Yes. You would never understand the pains I was going through, Caleo. I trekked out every day to provide for you. I saw the death. I felt the pains of frailty. I was offered guidance to this place by one of their scouts. I thought about retrieving you and your mother, but I had already been lost for nearly a month. I knew she would have passed on by this time when I had left her in that state. And by the time I would be able to find you, I'd have assumed your passing as well.
So did you even try? Did you even love us?
You would not understand, Caleo. You are too young.
Too young? Do you feel as if I did not see death? Do you feel as I did not provide for a dying person? I fought through my problems, unlike you, Father, who ran away from them when they got tough. And here I stand, shouting as if you were a child. You may be older, Father, but I see your mind is that of a fool. Never speak to me again.
Wait, son, please let me make it up to you.
The only way you could make it up to me is to drown in the rains. And thus I walk away, leaving my father speechless. I then return to the chamber of the Greybeards.
A sour reunion, I assume.
Quite.
I apologize for your loss.
Well, not much else for me to do in this world, I suppose.
I disagree, my friend.
How so?
You hold a mode of confidence and bravery like no other holds. Such a young boy, and yet you are able to walk the world that holds death.
I had seen it my whole life. Without a father around for most of the time, I had to be the head of the house.
And those struggles have crafted you in such a way that you can stand here speaking to people most would call royalty. We could use someone like you.
Use? I do not see why not. I have little else I can do in this life.
You see, we are merely scholars and craftsmen of safety from the storm. Only we can read the words written for our generation. But the storm is ever-changing. A part you may not know is you age much quicker out in the storm. It holds an aura of sorts that does this. You see over there.
He points to an elder who is reading papers.
He is a retired researcher. He travelled out in the rains at the age of 30. Now he's 83. But only 10 years ago was he 30. With your young age, you would be able to help us in the greatest way possible.
How so?
You could be the first to travel to the land of the plagued. Those who tried passed either of old age or by the hands of the storm. We will provide you with all the protection you need on this voyage. All we ask is for you to write your findings in a journal and regularly inform us of what you discover. The storm will not be your only enemy out in the corruption. The plagued have many souls at their disposal, in which they let roam the world. They are the assurance plan that any who have survived are slaughtered. 'Twas what happened to our owl friend's follower, but I believe you will have the skills and bravery to take this adventure and help mankind.
I will do what you ask. This is the point of which my life turns on its head. No longer will I merely survive, but I will fight for the right of all who live.
Marvelous. Then shall we perform the ceremony for you?
Ceremony?
Yes. We are all followers of the voice of guidance. She gives us insight and grants us protection from the rains. She will be your guardian away from the sanctum.
Whatever must be done, I suppose. They took me to a smaller room on the southern side of the castle. No roof above my head, only the light of the sun. Then they began to chant. I could not understand what they spoke, but I felt myself almost being separated from this reality. My mind felt as if it were the air around me. Suddenly, the light from the sky descended onto me in a strange orb. When it came in contact with me, it all went blank. I woke in blackened sky. Many lights float around me. Then I heard a voice.
Awaken, my child, and walk upon this world in my name. Save these people, restore this land.
I wake up once more in the castle. The greybeards look upon me.
Did you hear her voice?
Yes, indeed.
Then you are ready to make your journey. But not without company.
The greybeard clasped his hands, and out flies a snowy owl onto his hand.
This owl is very young, but he has been blessed by the owls that go before him. He will aid you in your travels. The owl will be a guide of sorts in which the voice of guidance will speak through. You both share a bond with her. You will speak to her in your dreams, while the owl will provide you with the companionship and means of knowing your location.
The owl then flew onto my head for some odd reason.
Oh, hello, new friend. I'm Talus, the wondrous and adventurous owl and guide.
Despite the serious appearance, he seems to be very light-hearted. Greetings, companion. I'm quite glad I won't be wandering alone.
I as well. It'll be a great journey full of danger and exploring.
He is still quite immature, but we have to give you the youngest owl to you due to the aging effect of the storm. Don't worry though, they are blessed to not age as a normal owl, but more so the same of a human. With his age, he will grow in his contact with the voice of guidance, and so will you. Certain points in each of your lives there will be a new blessing the voice of guidance will give to you. May your travels be safe, and may you overcome any obstacle.
I thank you for your help, and I will do my best to get to the end of this storm.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll get there and put an end to this. I guarantee it.
I set out of the castle. Once again, I am left to wander the world. But I have a goal. I could have stayed in the security of the sanctum, but if I'm told I can be the hope of the world, why not be it? To my surprise, the rains had no effect upon me. No moisture or pain. Even the Wisps died out.
Well, new buddy, it's time we set out.
How can you be so cheerful? Do you not know what lies ahead?
Well, no, not really, but the other owls tell me of the adventures they've been on.
Do they speak of death?
Death? No, not at all. Should we be wary of it?
Well, naturally so, you should be. We may possibly cross paths with the Fallen.
Well, it won't happen to us. Right?
We shall hope so.